All right, today we're going to break down one of the most fundamental biological processes there is menstruation. It's a monthly reality for billions of people around the globe, but how does it actually work? Let's dive in and find out.
Okay, just to get a sense of the sheer scale of this, think about this. Right now, as you're listening to this, an estimated 300 million people are on their period. I mean, that's just incredible. It's this massive, shared, totally universal biological experience happening all the time.
So, that huge number just makes you wonder, right? What is actually happening inside the body to make this whole thing go? To drive this cycle, making it start, stop, and then do it all over again, month after month.
Okay, so let's start with the big picture. The best way to really wrap your head around this is to think of it like a biological rhythm. A super finely tuned cycle that just repeats itself over and over and over again. So, on average, we're talking about a cycle that's roughly 28 days long. And at the end of that cycle, you get a period that can last anywhere from 2 to 7 days. But the really wild part? The repetition. This whole process happens around 450 times in a person's life. Just let that sink in for a second. 450 times. So, who's in charge of all this? Who's running the show? Well, behind the scenes, there's this really complex, kind of beautiful system of hormonal controls. It's time to meet the key players that make it all happen. Okay, so this whole operation is managed by an incredible internal system. First up, you've got the brain, specifically the pituitary gland. Think of it as mission control. It's calling the shots. Then you have the ovaries, and they're holding over 400,000 egg cells, each tucked inside a little sac called a follicle. At the same time, the womb is getting ready for a potential pregnancy. And tying it all together, a team of hormones, acting like chemical messengers that coordinate the whole shebang. And what's so cool is how these hormones work in teams. You've got one group from the brain, FSH and LH, that basically give the ovaries their marching orders. Then the ovaries respond by releasing their own hormones, estrogen and progesterone. These are the hormones that carry out the mission on the ground, and they're also sending signals back to the brain. It's like this constant chemical conversation happening inside the body. All right, now that we've met the key players, let's follow the mission. We're going to go step by step through a typical 28-day journey. Okay, here's the entire mission at a glance. It all kicks off on day 1, the first day of the period. That's the big reset button. For the next couple of weeks, that's the follicular phase, the brain is sending out hormones to get the ovaries ready. Then, boom, around day 14, we hit the main event, ovulation. After that, we're in the luteal phase, where the body gets the womb ready just in case of a pregnancy. And if that doesn't happen, hormone levels drop, and we're right back at day 1.
This is where you can really see that chemical conversation, that feedback loop in action. It's like a chain reaction. Step 1, the brain sends out FSH and LH to the ovaries. Step 2, the ovaries get the message and they start maturing eggs and pumping out estrogen. Step 3, as that estrogen level gets higher and higher, it actually sends a signal back to the brain saying, okay, ease up on the FSH, but give me a big hit of LH. And that massive surge of LH, that's the trigger for ovulation. And that main event we keep talking about, it's ovulation. This is the moment. It's when the most mature egg literally bursts out of its little follicle and through the wall of the ovary. It then starts its journey down the fallopian tube, and this is the absolute peak of fertility for the whole month. So right after ovulation, the body hits this really critical fork in the road. There's only a tiny window of time, about 24 hours, for that egg to meet up with the sperm and be fertilized. If it happens, great, a pregnancy can begin, and the fertilized egg can settle into that nice, prepared womb. But if it doesn't happen, well, the egg's journey is over, and that window for pregnancy slams shut for the month. But here's the really clever part. The body doesn't wait to see what happens. It prepares for pregnancy just in case. That little follicle that released the egg, it's not done yet. It transforms and starts pumping out a new hormone, progesterone. And progesterone's one and only job is to tell the womb's lining, hey, get ready. It tells it to plump up with blood and all these nutrients, basically creating this perfect, soft, welcoming cushion for a fertilized egg. So, what happens if that fertilized egg never shows up? Well, the body gets the message. After a little while, those estrogen and progesterone levels just plummet. And that sudden drop is the big signal. It tells the body, okay, we don't need this super plush, nutrient-rich womb lining anymore. So the lining starts to degenerate and break down, and it's shed from the body. And that combination of blood and tissue, that's your period. And just like that, we're back at the beginning.
Okay, so we've just walked through this step-by-step biological process, but this is super important. While the biology is basically the same for everyone, the individual experience, it can be totally different. So let's zoom out for a minute and talk about all that variation.
And this is a really key takeaway. We've made it sound like this perfect clockwork machine, but in reality, there's a huge amount of variation from person to person. Every single body is unique, and what we call normal is actually a really, really wide range.
I mean, think about it. Your cycle might not be exactly 28 days. It could be shorter, it could be longer. Your period might last for just 2 days, or it could go on for 7. The exact day you ovulate can change. Even the age when you start and stop menstruating in your life, that varies a ton. And guess what? All of that is completely, totally normal.
Which brings us all the way back to that number we started with, 450. Now that we've seen the incredible, intricate hormonal dance behind every single cycle, and we know just how unique each one can be, that number feels even bigger, doesn't it? It's this profound biological rhythm that just plays out time and time again over a whole lifetime.
And really, this leads us to the most important point of all, getting to know the details of this monthly process and learning to appreciate all of those differences and variations. Well, it's just incredibly empowering. It gives you the tools to understand and take charge of your own body. Because the biggest takeaway here is this: understanding your cycle isn't just biology, it's power.